Hey everybody, happy Friday. As you can see, I'm working from home today. And so we did a quick video last week on baby gadgets, on that silly thing that they're selling that does everything but breastfeed your baby for you. And since then I've had a lot of really great questions on other baby stuff, like other baby gadgets and seats and saucers and jumping things and the whole bit. So I thought I'd come on and give you some stuff to think about when you are thinking whether you need the stuff for your baby, especially talking to those first-time parents who, I remember what it was like when you were pregnant with your first baby and you're bombarded with all of the, you need this and this and this, and you're not a good parent if you don't have this whole list of stuff. And so like I talked about last week, that is definitely not true. Baby basically needs diapers and food, and a car seat is pretty necessary in this day and age. But really, other than that, the rest is kind of gravy. I might, like, my next thing would probably be a great baby carrier, because I feel like that saves moms and dads' bodies so well. And a great baby carrier is so good for baby, for their spine as well. So we'll talk baby carriers in another post, but here's my friend here today to help me do some demo. Let's talk about first what baby does need. What does baby need? Baby needs to be touched. Babies have a very big biological need to be touched. So babies need to be held. Babies need lots and lots of holding time. That is how they were designed. That's why they often cry when you put them down, because they're supposed to be held. We've all, I hope, heard of the studies done on like orphanages in Russia and what happens to humans when they are left in a crib and not touched. So human touch is so incredibly critical for babies. They need time not in this position. So when you think about what a car seat does to baby's spine, car seat puts baby in this C shape, which is okay for short periods of time, and car seats are really important. But we got to make up for that. And especially like if you've been on a long road trip or something, baby needs time to do this and, stretching backward and stuff like that. So babies need time on the floor, and time upright on mom and dad, and time just in different positions than this C shape. And then, so my last thing that we'll talk about that babies need is interaction. Babies need to hear you talking. They need to hear people in general talking, and they need interaction with humans. Again, talking about the really sad studies out of orphanages where babies don't get human interaction. So that's one of the things I love about baby wearing. Not only is it really good for their spine, but we know that babies, when they're worn or held, are getting a ton of neurologic input from your voice and what they're watching you do as the baby becomes an older baby. They're watching what you're doing. They're watching and listening about, watching like your conversations with other people and picking up on just little cues. And so those are the things that babies need. So let's talk about some baby gadgets. The number one thing I do not like is the bumbo seat. I don't have one to show you, but I hopefully everybody knows what that is. It's this plastic seat that basically just has the shape of baby's bottom, and so baby sits like this in a bumbo seat. The number one issue with bumbo seats is many people, you tend to sit it on a counter or a table, and many babies have been injured by falling out of these things off of counters and tables. So they really are only supposed to be used on the floor or places that babies can't fall off of. The number two thing with bumbo seats is they only fit a small baby. And so a small baby does not have the muscles or the spinal tone to be able to hold themselves upright yet. And so you're basically sticking baby in that bumbo seat, and this part of them is flopping around in a way that is not safe. They don't have the muscles and the tone to be able to support themselves in a seated position yet. The bottom line is we shouldn't put babies in positions that they cannot hold themselves. And so let's move on to like exercisers and things like that hold baby in an upright position. I'm okay with like the exercisers and things like that if they're used for short periods of time, as long as that baby is already old enough to hold themselves up. Like if they're already sitting pretty well on their own, that's a safe time to use an exerciser. The Johnny jumpers, the things you put in a doorway, not a fan of at all. That so babies actually have a reflex that when they feel something under their feet, they step or they jump forward. And putting them in that jumper seat and having them doing a lot of this is just not a good thing for baby spines. They're not ready for that kind of compression yet. So not a fan of the bouncing, jumping things. Again, short periods of time with everything. We had a swing and we had a, what do you call them? The vibrating seats, for my kids, and we used them for short periods of time. But like anything, you want to make sure you're balancing that with time holding baby. So I hope that answered a few questions that I've had this week. If you have other questions, please leave them in the comments. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend.